This chapter was brought to you by Metallic Dice Games, your source for premium-looking gaming dice, and not just in metal, in gemstone and plastic as well. Get 10% off dice and dice accessories on metallicdicegames.com with our code TRIALS10. Also, if you've enjoyed the camp energy so far, we want to let you know that we've opened pre-orders for your very own Camp Daybreak t-shirt on our website, trebmerch.com, starting today and running until November 7th at midnight. Make sure you run over and get one, campers. Reader, beware. Are you prepared for guts and gore, the likes of which you've never seen? Does the sight of slaughtered children, gruesome dismemberments, and buckets of blood make your heart race with excitement? Dive into these pages and let your darkest desires come alive. Lock your doors, check under your bed, and get ready for a summer you'll never forget. Epilogue. Daybreak. We see this heart-shaped island in the middle of a still, calm lake, sitting all within a caldera off in the mountains. Camp Daybreak, the fire has been put out. Much of the forest on the west side of this island has been burnt down. We can see paramedics running to and fro, laying out young children underneath a large sheet on the beach. 30 to 40 people dead. The mood that we see is a lot of frenzy. It looks like a nest of ants with all the people walking around, police officers looking as if they're investigating or just fucking wasting a lot of their time. Paramedics trying to just get an accurate assessment of everyone who's died, and then afterwards putting them into a boat to bring it back over to the shore and get them down into town to prepare them for whatever funerals their families have prepared for them. And also we see standing near to the archery range, kind of leaning on one of the targets, away from the site of the big massacre. We see this curly blonde-haired elf. He has little circle glasses and a big mustache. He's wearing his Camp Daybreak yellow t-shirt and a denim jacket over it, and he's surrounded by 5 or 6 reporters with their large cameras, and he's just trying to give Hector, the Camp Daybreak owner, is just trying to answer as many of their questions as possible, stumbling over himself.
Hector, were you ever aware that this was going to happen that night?
Of course, no. I wasn't aware it was going to happen. It was just a terrible accident. No one could have ever foreseen this.
Have all the children been identified and accounted for?
No. There. I can't see his name. But there is a young camper who's still missing. We haven't been able to find him. If you're in the local area and you see a young man with medium length black hair and a Camp Daybreak t-shirt or just around the age of 15 or so, 14, please call the authorities and let them know that you've found him. I'm sorry, I can't release his name at the current moment, but he's still out there and we are still desperately looking for him.
Why did you leave on the last day of summer camp?
That's tradition. It's tradition. It's normal. I do that every year. I have to get we don't keep any diesel here at camp. We just kept gasoline in the. And he gestures over towards like the burnt down section where the boathouse used to be, and he says, we would keep it in the boathouse for the generators and the boats, but we didn't keep any diesel for the bus. So I just drive into town. It's a way to give the counselors a day off after working all week. It's perfectly normal.
How do you explain the lack of cameras and other security measures given this summer camp's history of massacres?
I bought the camp. That was fixing it up is all I could afford. It was built in the 40s. There's nothing. It's not built into any of the infrastructure here. We got money last year to build the science lab, the Kells Courtney computer lab, but that's as far as the money went. We couldn't afford stuff like cameras or anything like that. They're too expensive. We don't really make any money off the kids coming here. It's just it's an even wash.
How do you expect you to deal with the parents? Will they be receiving any compensation for this?
I assume from I can't. Everything here is out of my own pocket. I can't provide money to help with their loss or to help with the dealing with everything afterwards, but I'm sure the government or something could provide them. This was a freak accident, or the maintenance man is still missing. I think he's the prime suspect. And you'll look directly into like one of the cameras and say, if you see a 6'6" elf, he has a long beard. He was wearing like a flannel and some overalls. If you see him in the local area, please.
All right. That's enough. Back away from the camera, Hector. Back up.
And as Hector tries to give this description the best as he can to this suspect still on the run, or so he believes, we will zoom out through one of these cameras to a small TV hanging in a diner. We see a couple of truckers sitting at the bar eating like some nice fresh waffles. There's an old waitress. She's probably in her 60s with her hair done up in curls and big hoop earrings, and she'll be pouring a cup of coffee for one of them and say, "Damn, it's a real tragedy about that."
Damn shame, I say.
Heard a couple people think it might be something of an insurance scam or something like that.
Insurance scam? Killing kids? It seems strange to me. You think that Hector guy did it?
I heard one of the counselors did it.
One of the counselors?
I mean, why would Hector leave for 24 hours before all of this?
Yeah, that's pretty fucking suspicious.
Sounds suspect to me.
Yeah.
A lot of rumors around this accident.
Yeah. Were you guys around here back in 78 when there was a massacre at the, what was it, a lumber mill or a lumberjacks college or something of the sort?
Yeah, I heard about
horrible
that
stuff.
one.
People back then said it was a lake monster. Can you believe that?
Lake monster.
I say don't build a camp on top of a haunted island and then you'll be fine.
It's bad luck. It's bad
Who's
luck.
to say it really is haunted?
It's happened 3 times now. I'd say it's more than just superstition at this point, right?
Think they're gonna close this place down for good?
I hope so.
I'm glad I never sent my kid there.
And with that final gruff voice, we see these truckers taking sips of their coffee, speculating wildly about this horrible incident that has struck Camp Daybreak and the nearby town of Hornlow. We cut next to a football field back in town. It has a big H, the Hornlow Horn-Eaters. This is their field and home turf. There's a little stage erected. The mayor of town is giving a talk. There's probably 200, 300 people gathered, seated in the metal stands, and this kind of like 40-year-old man. He has a gray mustache and like a comb-over haircut. He's wearing a oversized suit, and he'll say, well, this is such a tragedy that has marked this town. The Camp Daybreak massacre will it'll go down in history books as one of the darkest days in Hornlow's history. I as mayor can only offer my most sincere well-wishing to the grieving families of those campers that lost their lives. I believe the police chief told me that there is a single suspect, the maintenance man, still on the lam, and he'll keep me updated, and I'll pass along any important information to you. And I just want you all to remember that in moments of tragedy like this, that we are more than a town. We're a family gathered together around this tragedy, and we should be able to rely on one another for whatever we need following something like this.
We want justice!
Yes, of course.
We want answers!
Please,
Take Hector
everyone.
to jail.
This is a memorial. Please, you can have your anger, and you can have justice and whatever you want, but now is a time to grieve these children. Coming up to speak now and deliver a message on hope and what can come next is the 2 survivors from this incident, our resident star athlete, Zoe Hull, and he looks down at his notes and kind of like waits for a second. You can hear like the microphone feedback in the signs. He goes, and also the counselor, Calixinax Lightsun. Welcome these 2 girls to the stage. They went through hell, everyone. And then he steps back and claps. You Callie and Zoe can walk up on the stage, likely wearing dark clothes. Maybe, Zoe, you have a black varsity jacket now to put on.
I dyed it black.
Tell us the truth about our families!
And the two of you together can walk up to this lectern with big microphones. There's probably like 8 different news channels, both from like around town and or just the county at large, put up in front of you. Tons of people taking photos. These 300 people gathered. Tons of people crying. People yelling. What do the two of you want to say to this gathered crowd about this tragedy?
Hello, everyone. My name is Calixinax Lightsun, one of the 2 survivors of the tragedy at Camp Daybreak. They say that the summer when you're 16 is the most memorable one. I mean, it's the prime time to have fun and explore the world, meet new people. It's when you start forming who you are. Well, this summer will be remembered not for its joy, but for the pain and sorrow of losing so much. To my fellow counselors, Ash and Elise, my beloved godmother Nyla, my bestest friend Ike, and the employees and campers, all of whom I've grown to love this past week, I will fight to the ends of the abyss to seek justice for your lives cut short by the evil that lurks around us. To our town, I know that hope is bleak, that this tragedy took away our future, but I believe that this is the time for us to come together and ensure that none of this will happen ever again. 20 years from now, 40 years from now, and for all time. They deserve justice, and we will bring them justice. Thank you.
People clap loudly. Zoe, you can kind of lean and go, yeah, me too.
Zoe does not know how to public speak at all at this moment.
People clap. The mayor claps. He has a bit of a very fake little teardrop coming. You might even have seen him pull like a drop of eye drops in his eyes, so it looks like he's crying. And he just claps and he goes, "What a great speech! What a great speech!" And then we zoom out of here as well, as the gathered crowd has this memorial service for these 40 kids and all the staff who lost their lives, these 2 counselors who bravely tried to defend the campers from whatever terrible threat caused this maintenance guy who just lost his marbles. And we will cut to a dark cavern beneath the camp, these mining tunnels, and we can see this bat creature crawling here in the darkness, having escaped the day's sun and the fire from last night. You see it crawl down this long elevator shaft, dropping and hovering down with its wings. It lands at the bottom, gently, quietly. It seems to have a tired posture from spending the whole night hunting. We can hear quiet squirms coming from nearby as this creature walks along the ground to the still living body of a young black-haired camper. His shirt is soaked in blood, his neck a mess of torn apart flesh, his legs broken beneath him, and his eyes are barely open. We hear him saying, why did they attack me? What did I do? Before this creature makes its way up to him, and with 2 large fangs digs into his neck. As it bites him, the camper Baron goes dead silent. One last breath shaking out of his lungs. We see his skin grow dark and discolored. We see it draw tight over his bones and underneath his shirt as this creature sucks all the blood remaining from it to fuel its hibernation. As it is finished with this husk of a camper, it lets go of him and shambles over to its coffin, half entombed in the stone here, and will pull the lid back over until it will come back to haunt this island in 20 years. And we see a dark-haired elf artist artesian slam the book shut. He looks off out of the windows, a bit of like 1,000-yard stare for a few moments, and he will, oh, goodness, and take the book, walk over to the counter, and will say, I'd like to purchase this, and would it be possible to get it packaged up, and could you send it out? It just reminded me of I have students and some students I'm mentoring, and I just wanted them to maybe read this. I don't know if they'd be interested in it at all, but I think they should read it. It's a nice warning about getting engaged with these kind of things, and what can happen. And the bookseller looks at him. This silver dragonborn with these like half-moon glasses on the very end of his snout, and goes, "Yeah, whatever you say, guy," and just starts pulling out like a parcel wrapper and wrapping it up for him. And that's where we'll end Weenie Hollow for this year.
Whoa! Vampires!
I hope you guys all enjoyed this one. It got a bit hairy at the end there. But happy Halloween, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this year's
Spooky.
Happy Halloween!
If you enjoyed this one, please leave us a rating and review on your podcatcher of choice, or specifically Apple Podcasts is where you can make the most, get the most bang for your buck. Leaving us a review over there will help out a ton. You can follow us on social media at Trials and Trebuchets on Instagram and Twitter. You can find teasers, you can find our own art and stuff that we get commissioned, and then just episode up posts. If you have fan art, send it to us on social media. We love seeing it. Tag us in it. It's the greatest thing under the sun. Next up, there's a Discord server, the link to which is in the description of this episode. And finally, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/trialsandtrebs, where you'll be able to see DM notes, bloopers, that kind of stuff. Probably right after this goes up and finishes November 1st, you'll be able to see the DM notes for this set of this adventure, as well as some of the blooper reels that we collected, the bloopers that we collected along the way. Just throwing a buck over there helps keep the lights on. It's really appreciated. And finally, if you want to buy some merchandise, you can go check it out at trebmerch.com.
Trebmerch.com!
Whoa!
We have stickers. We have a Nesca t-shirt over there. But until next year, happy Weenie Hollow. Bye.
Weenie Hollow.
Bye.
Bye!
Bye.